I am now returning to the histories. Now, before I got into reading in the Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, I read the first half of chapter 10 in 1 Kings. I also read the first half of chapter 9 in 2 Chronicles. These two told us the story of the visit of the Queen of Sheba to Solomon. I will now pick this up in chapter 10 of 1 Kings. We'll read the rest of this chapter. We pick this up in verse 14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold, beside that he had of the merchantmen, and of the traffic of the spice merchants, and of all the kings of Arabia, and of the governors of the country. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of gold went to one target. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pounds of gold went to one shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Okay, first of all, a talent, from what I understand, is about 75 pounds of gold in modern weight. He's getting 666 talents a year. That's a lot of gold. And that's in taxes. That doesn't count how much he brings in through trade. Because it says besides what he brought in by the merchants. That also doesn't count what he brought in through tribute. All the kings of Arabia. So tribute and trade are not counted in the 666 talents of gold. Now, the targets, these are a type of breastplate. 600 shekels. Now, 3,000 shekels is 1 talent, so 600 shekels is 1/5 of a talent, meaning about 15 pounds. That's how much they weigh. Verse 18, Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with the best gold. The throne had 6 steps, and the stone and the top of the throne was round behind, and there were stays on either side on the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the stays. And 12 lions stood there on the one side, and on the other upon the 6 steps. There was not the like made in any kingdom. The stays, these are armrests. This is a chair that has armrests on it. On either side are lions made of gold. 6 steps leading up to the throne, each step having a lion on each side. 6 on each side, making 12. All of it made of gold. The throne itself is made of ivory overlaid with gold. Verse 21, And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish, with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. So he had this navy of ships, Tarshish. This is another spelling of Tarshish. And that is in Spain. So he's trading along the Mediterranean, probably going across the up north along the Mediterranean, out to Tarshish, and then back along the southern coast. He has this trading. He takes a 3-year trading excursion. Every 3 years he comes back with all the wealth. And remember, he also had his navy in the Red Sea, going down south along the coast of Africa, possibly going out to India. He had massive trading empires here. And in his house, everything was made of gold. He didn't bother with silver for his own personal stuff. He just had so much of it. Verse 24, And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, and garments and armor, and spices, horses and mules, a rate year by year. And Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the cities for his cities for chariots, and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones, and cedars made he to be as the sycamore trees that are in the vale, for abundance. And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and linen yarn. The king's merchants received the linen yarn at a price. And a chariot came up and went out of Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. And so for all the kings of the Hittites and for the kings of Syria did they bring them out by their means. So this is just the opulence of Solomon, all his grandeur, all his luxuries. Now, it does say in the footnotes here, where on linen yarn, according to this, it's brought horses out of Egypt and linen yarn. But in the footnotes it says linen yarn is Kue or Cilicia. The name of this country is mistakenly translated to be linen yarn. So there's an error for you. But meaning they got horses from Egypt and from Cilicia. Now, Cilicia is on the southern coast of Turkey, the Asia Minor area there. It's on the southern coast of Turkey, northern shore of the Mediterranean, just north of Cyprus. This is where the ancient Hittite Empire was. So, this is just a description of Solomon's luxuries. And he made silver as stones. In other words, people were kicking nuggets of silver down the street as they walked. That's how common silver was. The wealth of Solomon, now this is probably exaggerated somewhat, but his wealth was definitely ridiculous. But we will leave that here. We are going to continue the histories for a few more videos, and we will see you there.